Alright, I know it's been a while. So ProffieOS7 has actually been out for a while. I've actually been working on my library since before we finished beta. But the OS7 library has so much in it that I'm nearly done. But I wanted to take this opportunity to do a demo and a sneak peek and give a little bit of information. So Jesse from Kyberphonics reached out to me. He has a brand new Jedi Survivor font coming out. And he had a question for me that actually fit perfectly with what I was developing for the new interface for the library. So I got portions of the library built out and running so that I could put this style together to demo for you. For those of you who aren't familiar with OS7, there's so much in it, I'm not going to cover all of it. This is a tiny, tiny fraction, but it's been put into a style now that'll run with that font that Jesse put together to give you the gameplay type interaction with your saber. So those not familiar, in the video game, you can obviously pick your kyber crystal. You can go through in the workbench. You could change the colors on the fly and all that. With the ability now that we have in OS7 for the alt fonts, as well as for the special abilities and several other new features, we can actually take everything that you experience in the game in terms of customizing the saber, changing the color. And for those of you who would pay attention, when you change the color of your crystal in the game, it changes the color of the sounds. And the Survivor font by Jesse does the same thing. He's got different colors, hums, swings, ignitions, all that for each color. But now with the alt font capability, combined with several other new features, we can actually have it so one preset, a single preset, can act as if it was the entire game. So you can have all your colors, all your different sounds for those colors, all controlled in one preset. And that's you leveraging the new special abilities capability, leveraging the alt fonts. So I've got a few things to show. So when I change the color, now this is set up to be just like in the game. So you've got your blue, cyan, indigo, magenta, green, purple, white, yellow, and orange. And I might have the order wrong. Forgive me. I've been working on this. But so with the new special abilities that are coming to the library, you're going to actually pick and choose how you want to control it. But all those colors and all of those sounds are built in. So let me walk through the different colors first, and then we're going to get to the really fun stuff. So I've set up special ability 1 on this version to go forward in the colors and alt fonts. I've set up special ability 2 to go backwards, so you can always go backwards. And then I set up special ability 3 to actually randomize, so it will randomly select. So right now we're in blue, so that's going to be my first one. I'm going to go forward. So now I'm in cyan, and the sound has changed for the hum. Alright, and then we'll go to the next one. So I'm in green, and we've got different sounds. So we've got different swing, different ignition, retraction sounds, hums, everything. So it's going to be different. But this is one preset. And this is technically one font set up with the alt capabilities. So we have green. So that's the indigo. Again, different sounds. So Jesse's made the font to have different sounds for each color. And now ProffieOS7, with all the new capabilities, handles that. So that's the magenta. That's the orange. So we've got different sounds. That's going to be purple. And we should have, that's the white. And then we should have the gold yellow. Yep. So you get different hums in particular, but all different sound, all different swing pairs, all different accent swings, all different ignition, all different retraction. Now, as I said, I can also go backwards, so that's with the using special ability 2, which technically when the new library comes out, you'll be able to set your special abilities to do whatever you want. So if you want to only go forward, if you only want to random, if you only want to do that, you'll set it up in the library, which is part of the reason the library's taking so long, because I'm trying to give all the users everything they could ever ask for in an interface that makes sense. So it's taking a little while, but it's getting close. So we'll go back. Oops, I held my button too long. So you can go back. Now, I can also, because I've set up Special Ability 3 to randomly change, it's going to just randomly pick colors. So I'm going to do Special Ability 3. So it's going to randomly pick the colors. Alright, and that's all great. Now, Jesse, the question that led to this is actually what I'm about to show. So in the game, there is actually an option to set up party mode. Party mode is where every time you do a large swing of your saber, it's actually going to change colors. And because of OS7, it's going to change colors and sounds using that alt font capability. So I've set up Special Ability 4 to toggle party mode on and off. So right now, even my fastest swing, nothing's going to happen, right? But I'm going to toggle party mode, and I've set up a sound to signify the toggle. So right now, I think that's the purple, because I did random, so I lost my place. So there's a small sound, I don't know if you heard it on camera, but now, when I do a big swing, it's going to change the sounds and the colors, and it's randomly choosing the colors, just like in the game. So every time, now you can do normal swings, normal movement. It's the big hard swings that are going to change the color. And every time you do a big hard swing, it's going to change the color and the sound immediately. And again, it's randomly going through them, just like in the game. So there's a bunch of YouTube videos that Jesse shared with me, and I was watching how they do it. And it's when he does his large swings. When he's running with the saber and he's moving around, it doesn't change. It's when he does those large sweeping swings. So I've set this code up so it's only going to be large sweeping swings that'll change your color. And it also happened randomly. Now, the library will actually have the ability for you to choose if you want them random, or if you want them to go forward, if you want them to go backward. But for the demo purposes for the font, Jesse wanted it just like the game. So this is going to be, every big swing is random. And again, you get alt font sounds and the color every time you do a big swing. But again, normal movement, nothing. So you're going to have your party mode, just like in the game, built into a single preset where you have unique controls for that preset combined with the font to make visual and sound effects do everything you want it to. Now, because it's random, you might go back to the same one a couple times, but you'll get through them all. But so this party mode is going to be a feature that you can actually enable in the library, and you can pair it with alt fonts, not just this Survivor font, but any font that you set up to run alt font capability. So there's going to be a lot more information coming. So this is the demo. It works great. It's a really cool thing, but the ability now for us to take all of these capabilities and crush them into a single preset. So this preset has 9 colors with 9 alt fonts, just like in the game. Single preset, single font, and then you can add everything else you want onto your saber. So while I have you, the library is getting very close. Now, I did a video several weeks ago. Actually, I guess it's more than a month ago because I've been doing that much work. The initial release of the OS7 library is close. I have several videos I hope to put together. I do have to finish some other portions, clean up. There's a couple little bugs that I think I can knock out, but the hope is within the next couple of weeks to have an early release beta of the OS7 library with a ton of new capabilities in it, available to my Patreon members. And as I said in the video last month, that's it. First of all, it says a big thank you for everybody who's been a Patreon member. You're going to get early access to all the cool stuff. Now, the OS7 library is going to roll out in multiple phases, just because there's so much that if it would take me another year to put the whole thing together. So I'm going to do batches. The early access, I haven't quite fallen on an exact timeline, but initial release will be in early access. It'll at least be a month. It may be longer, but at least a month I want to give for my Patreon members to have access to the OS7 library with a ton of new alt font capabilities, a ton of special abilities. There's a bunch of new effects, which there's more information about that coming. A bunch of new color capabilities, just everything. I'm really leaning into everything OS7 can do in the OS7 library, which is why it's taken so long. But when the OS7 library releases and you get your eyes on it and you start using these styles, you're going to understand there's a lot of work involved. So a lot of the concepts, a lot of the stuff I've been demoing, even last year when we were doing the original proof of concept stuff for OS7, I've been working on these ideas with Frederick for years. And it all culminated in OS7 once we were able to do that synergy between fonts and sounds, style effects, style code and fonts, meaning the synergy between visual effects and sounds. So now that opened a huge door for what's possible in terms of, we've always said that anything's possible, but everything that I've ever seen somebody ask or want to do on a Proffie is now pretty much possible. So to make that work and to make it something users can do, I've put a lot of time and effort into the library to make it so that the interfaces make sense, so they're able to generate as many options as people can imagine, but still keep it in a way where the code is going to be as efficient as possible to allow you to fit more on your saber. So if you build the styles correctly in the library should allow you to fit even a little more than you did in OS6. Now there's a few defines tied to that, so there'll be more information. But all this work, I do it when I get the chance, nights and weekends. I spend time trying to make stuff work. Sometimes I waste time because stuff doesn't work. So all my Patreons, for sticking with me, that's where the early access comes in. Now I get the questions. If you want to become a Patreon member before I launch the library, you will get early access. And that's obviously as a thank you for joining. But the goal will be to reward those of you who've helped me out with all your contributions ahead of time. So early access for those who've been part of this. If you haven't been, or you want to become a Patreon member after the OS7 initial release, you can then become eligible for the early access stuff after that point. So the initial early access is going to be for those of you who have existed with me. But yes, I know this video is probably going to prompt some of you to maybe click that button, which is part of the goal here. So if you do it before the OS7 library release, you will be part of the early access. As I said, at a minimum, I'm thinking it'll be a month. It might be a little longer. The general plan in my head, and it's subject to change based on how much time I get to work on stuff, will be to roll out phase 1 in a beta. If the beta goes well with my Patreon members and there's no major problems, no major bugs, I will start setting up phase 2. When phase 2 is done, phase 2 will become early access, and the initial rollout will become public access. So I haven't worked all of the bugs out of how to even make that happen, but I have a pretty good idea. But that's the plan going in. I am one person. I am putting a lot of my own time into this. So if I have to change something, don't hold this video against me, because I'm kind of doing stuff and thinking of stuff all at the same time. But the goal hopefully is you get to see all the cool stuff that's coming. This little video hopefully teases the palate a little bit about what the library is going to be able to do. Also gives a great shout out to Jesse at Kyberphonics for all his work on the font and asking me to put together that party mode and these style capabilities, kind of let me show off some of what's coming in the library. But definitely check out Kyberphonics for that font. And the style code that you see demoed here is going to be available after a certain period. So Jesse's working on his release and stuff, so once he's ready for it, the code will go for that, and that's the code from this demo. There'll be a lot more code options once the library releases, and I think that's most of it. So I know this video is going to be a little long. I'm sure people already cut out because they already saw what they wanted to see, but for those of you stuck around, if you do want to become a Patreon member to get early access to the OS7 library, do so now. The expectation for you who are already members, who will become members, is the next couple of weeks I should be done with the beta, and that's when I'll do a release. The announcement will be through Patreon for the members who are there already, as well as the access. And then we'll figure out all the other stuff after that point, because I still have a good amount of work done to make the initial release possible. But this is coming. This is going to be, and again, this is just a small piece of what's coming in the OS7 library, so definitely keep an eye out. What we're going to be able to do now in OS7, I know I said it feels like a year ago, because I think it was, is going to be totally different, totally game-changing from everything you've done with your saber so far. So I'm super excited. I am still working really hard to get this out to you. I know it's been a while. There's so much code. There's so many new interfaces. There's so many new capabilities. It is taking a little while, but I know everybody's going to really be excited once it releases. So more to come, but hope you enjoy.